Hi everybody, welcome to the Paranormal Connection. I'm your host, Danna Wilberg. Well, tonight we're back with Barbara Ybarra. She's an astrologer, and tonight we're talking about the galactic or the astrological cycles that have to do with the galactic alignment.
Okay.
Right. So, but before we jump in, you know, for anybody who missed our show last time, sorry about that, but you missed it. Barbara was talking about love. But let's talk a little bit about you. So for those who didn't get to hear what you do and how you do it, let's go into that.
I practice astrology for people. I hold consultations with people who'd like to have a personal consultation. And currently I am working on a bachelor's degree in social science. And I would really like to begin writing more about astrology in connection with societal mores and developmental stages that we go through. So I have all these themes and ideas I'm working on. So that's what I'm working on now. And I really thank you for letting me be here today.
Well, it's a fascinating topic, and it's something that affects us all, and most people are interested in, even if it's just a little bit. You know, we know a little bit about it. Right. So why don't you begin by talking about the galactic alignment? What's that all about?
Okay. Well, as people, as individuals, we experience small, very tiny cycles, and then as we grow older, we start experiencing larger cycles in our life. So, for instance, the moon travels around the Earth very quickly. It's 1 month, and we know that that's related to the ocean, but it's related to fertility of a woman, to the growing cycle on the Earth. So, and it's very quick. You know, it goes around. It has a full moon, and it's back to new moon, and it's 1 month. So we do feel that a lot. Day and night cycle is even quicker, but we don't need to go that tiny. As we get older, we have larger cycles that we experience. So, for instance, Jupiter and Saturn are two longer cycles that will fluctuate in our lives. One is about expansion and one is about contraction. So we kind of grow and then we step back because we know maybe we're stepping on toes or something like that. So those planets, up until that planet, we are operating more or less on an individual level. We understand that we have to participate in society, we have to learn to cooperate with others, but that's kind of all we need to learn in our life. If we go beyond that to the cycle of the very slow outer planets, which are Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto, then you're talking about cycles that you're involved with if you are on a much grander scale. The galactic cycle is huge. So even astrologers don't very often talk about it. Some of them do, and there have been many conferences and things lately to help explain it to people, books. I think people are doing a very poor job of explaining it because it's too complex. And there's a very simple way I would like to show today, if I could, what what it is. So, once and for all, maybe people won't say, well, what the heck is that anyway? And what about the Mayan calendar? And so the Mayan calendar aside for a minute, I would just like to demonstrate what the galactic alignment is. If you picture the galaxy that we're in, which is the Milky Way, it's very big and smeary, it's a big spiral kind of a thing. And our solar system is really tiny. So, to scale, it's not like this and this. Everybody knows that. And the solar system would be out on one edge. And looking in, we can actually spot from the Earth, we can spot the center of the galaxy, which is very bright. You can see it in the night sky. It's like it goes across the sky, but you can see the yellow or the bright glowing part. And apparently the center of the galaxy is very compacted energy. It's called a black hole because it's so intense in the middle. The sun, looking toward the center of the galaxy, you could draw a line from the sun straight to the center of the galaxy. It wouldn't be out this way, it wouldn't be over here, it would be from the sun, the center of the galaxy. The Earth, which goes around the sun in a counterclockwise motion, comes around and it hits that line twice a year. Every year, all the time, in the entire history of the revolution of the planet, of our planet. If the Earth is making an exact winter solstice, so it's tipped this way, if it's an exactly winter solstice, when it comes to this point that is lined up with that line, it only does it once every 13,000 years.
Wow.
Yeah, because there's a wobble in the Earth. It starts inching away, and it goes this way. And it will make its winter solstice over here after 1,000 years, and then after another 1,000, here's 13,000, and it will make winter or summer solstice, say. So it's an axis, kind of. The whole thing is about this line. Mm-hmm. And yes, there is leeway in there. So, when you hear people argue that it doesn't mean anything because it's been happening for 20 years, that's kind of true. There's a width to it or something. So for about 20 years, we have been experiencing the winter solstice on that line. And that's basically all it is. It's come around. Mm-hmm. After 26,000 years, the winter solstice is happening out here again. So I suppose the idea, if you want to get really esoteric about it, is that this galactic center is somehow transmitting some kind of energy from here to here to here. Now, 13,000 years ago, there actually was an ice age. Mm. And they only just now pinpointed it to just in the last 6 months, I think. You can read about it online and see that, yes, it was 13,000 years ago. And we saw that our Earth had a frozen top layer here. The ocean stopped. There was no current in the oceans, and we had dry, cold weather down below. And I'm thinking, and you're saying nothing's going to happen this time? And what do we have now? We have polar ice caps melting, which is just the opposite. Mm-hmm. So 13,000 years ago, it was like this. It was, if you're going to think about it, transmission of energy of some kind. Mm-hmm. And we don't know a whole lot about why that's so, but all of the astrological monuments on our Earth are aligned to winter solstice. It's Stonehenge and Newgrange in Ireland, Chaco Canyon. They all have that sunlight coming on winter solstice onto that spot. And then the Mayan calendar just kind of confirms that. So it's really about cycles that mm-hmm. are confirming this, but the two are not separate, but it's not like there was Mayan calendar said, 2012 is the time when we're going to line up. It just was. The calendar was. It had a cycle of itself, by itself.
So anything is possible. They're predicting, what is it, in December? Which is
right,
when the winter solstice,
December 21, 2012, yeah. Right, yeah. And, how do we know that's not true? That's an event of mm-hmm. some kind of solar event. Not only that, you can look online also and find out that there is a gas cloud of some kind moving toward the galactic center right now. They've been watching it for 9 years. It's moving rapidly to the center. astronomers are actually excited about seeing what it's going to do. And they predict the summer of 2013 as a very exciting moment when they will see if that gas cloud is going to be sucked into the black hole and then emit and erupt some kind of, wonderful, exciting radioactive energy.
Wow.
And yet they say 2012 means nothing, It's all a bunch of hogwash.
So do they have any perspective of what's going to happen, Barbara?
There's tons and tons of prophecies, regarding it. So that's a whole other mishmash. A lot of people feel that it's something that is so different from what we even think, that it's not just earth changes that we're going to be affected spiritually, that those who are ready are going to be changed in like the twinkling of an eye, that we will, our genes, our cells, our DNA will change to be lighter, not so dense, and that our form of communication will improve. Like I can sit here and communicate with you mentally. I don't have to worry about how I'm saying my words.
So we're all going fiber optic. Is that what it's going to be like?
Something like that, yes. Huh. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. If it doesn't happen, I'm going to be very disappointed.
Something's bound to happen.
Right.
Okay, so we've got some eclipses coming up as well.
Right. Yeah. That I didn't want to miss saying it, because I personally am going to watch it, and I have not, other than partial eclipses, I have never been at an eclipse. It's an annular eclipse of the sun, so it won't completely black out the sun. The moon is not quite close enough to us to completely cover the sun. It'll cover it exactly in the middle, and then there will be a little edge, that will shine around, so there will be some light in the sky. It's not a total solar eclipse, but it'd be beautiful for anyone who wanted to take a photograph of it. And it will be in the northern part of California. If you go online, you can see maps that show you exactly where the band width is for it to be perfect. And I think it runs through, a lot of people are going to Shasta because that's one of the places that you can see it. And Lassen Park along the coast. And then if you go down into Utah, oh my gosh, Bryce Canyon, Zion Park, which would be a beautiful, gorgeous place to experience a solar event like that. And I looked at the chart. So when something occurs like that, as an astrologer, I pull it up on my computer and see, what does the chart say? When it's actually occurring, what does it say? What is it speaking to us? What are we supposed to be getting out of this? Because it's wonderful to look at, but we're always being asked to experience something on a deeper level. And what I got from looking at it, the message that I got was that communication is so important between us, between people. Communication and commitment of love. There was two messages there. One was that it's not enough just to be emotional with somebody, just like they always teach you at church. Love isn't a feeling, love is a commitment. So it is about that truly as well. And that moment, I think if each of us who's even watching it or not watching it and somewhere else could just turn to somebody and say what they've been thinking that they haven't said in a long time, something positive, I hope, to the person that's next to them, and just communicate that and say, do you know what I always like about you?
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
So we have to watch these through pinhole glasses or pinhole?
Sunglasses? No, you can, it might be a certain kind of sunglass, but I'm thinking it's just a really strong UV protection because, I don't think it will really damage your eyes if you just kind of glanced at it. I think the whole effect would be there out of the side vision as well, and then photographers are probably going to try to capture it. So you might want to check and see what, to protect yourself, sure. Definitely. So
let's talk a little bit about, so we have the eclipse coming up. We've got this galactic alignment that's happening. I've also noticed some of these planets looks like they're so much closer than they ever were before. Really.
That's
you
funny.
know, in the middle of the night, I look out there and go, what is that? Those are those planets? And they're like, you know, pink, pink. You know, they're beautiful. So
I've been thinking that too, but they're not. I mean, they're not any closer. So I don't know whether it's just an atmospheric, you know, thing that's causing that, or whether, you know, if you want to get silly about it, we could be changing our way of perceiving things. Part of the 2012 change that we're supposed to experience is also change in time, that we won't understand time in the same way that we did before. Things won't be as linear anymore. So yeah, maybe we are starting to see things differently.
I don't know. They're awfully pretty.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it's because I live on a hill, but no, they're closer. They just look so much closer to me.
I've felt that too.
Every year,
right?
They seem closer and closer.
Right. Sometimes I'll walk outside and say, oh, to my husband, look, you see Mars? Look at that.
Yeah, you used to need a telescope.
Yeah, right.
You know, now you just go, oh yeah, they're there.
Right.
So, any holy concordances coming up? Any kind of spiritual thing that's coming up? Go ahead.
No, say.
Well, we didn't get to the last show. We were going to talk about the spiritual or the psychic planets.
Oh, we didn't, did we?
No.
I also want to mention one more event in the sky, though, and that is on June 5th and 6th. Venus will transit in front of the sun, so it always goes past the sun, but not usually visually, so that from our geocentric viewpoint, it's right in line with the sun. And that only happens every, now I forget what it is. I think it's every 300 years or 250 years. It happens twice. So it is 8 years apart. Because I was on a cruise ship when the first one happened in 2004, and I thought it was so wonderful to be out there in the ocean. And there was an astrologer speaking on the ship, and he said, oh, I can feel the love. Because Venus is always about love. And if you're aware of the fact that it's occurring, that is what it is for. It's to realize that our center of ourselves, the sun energy that we have all the time, our life force, is only given it's only given life because we have the love, available to us. It's just there if you want it. And so that kind of event probably should be celebrated just by a consciousness, just paying attention to it and knowing that, you could have a little love fest for someone, or, something to celebrate it.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
You had mentioned something before that really kind of jostled me a little bit. You said that we are so affected by the planets. We're part of the planets. They're part of us. And when you think about the big picture, the way water is affected, the tides come in, when the moon is full and this and that, how we react, and then you just mentioned our sunlight within. That is so profound, Barbara. I've never really looked at it that way, how, we are such a part of the electrical system of the solar system and whatnot.
Right. Just as Jesus said, the kingdom of God is within. And that's why I have it on my sign here, inquire within, because I would put this outside of the shop that I would be doing readings in, but inquire within really meant look within. When you're coming to talk about your chart with me, you're going to be looking within, not without of yourself.
Well, for anybody who said that babies don't come with directions, you've got them. You know how to access them,
right?
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
So, what else do you want to tell us about the psychic planets?
Well, and also maybe to go along with the galactic alignment, because I did talk about the melting polar caps, and the fact that Neptune has gone into its own sign of Pisces, which is all about water in the oceans on one level. So physically, it does relate to the feeling and the experience you get when you're around the ocean. So anything to do with the ocean. Since it's an outer planet, it also has to do with our more cosmic sense of things. So it does kind of go along with the fact that we should be concerned about polar caps, melting and our oceans rising. And just as Neptune went into Pisces this February I think it went in 2011, but it slipped back out. But in February, just around that time, suddenly everything was about the ocean. We had Costa Cruises sank right next to off of Italy, and then they had another ship that floated out to sea and without electricity, and I think the people were floating around for 3 days.
That was the ship that I was supposed to be on.
Oh, no.
Yes, my cruise was canceled because of that.
Oh, gosh.
That ship. That was horrific for them.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
But I wondered if maybe some of them ended up thinking, oh, wow, that really woke me up.
Yeah.
Because here we were adrift at sea, on this planet, and so maybe they started realizing things. Maybe without the electricity, they went out and looked at the stars and just maybe connected more with the Earth than they ever did before. Not only those two events, but all of a sudden Titanic was everywhere. I mean, everything was Titanic. There was a new show on TV, and the new 3D movie came out, and I was so sick of hearing about Titanic. And 870 dolphins washed up on shore in Peru, which was very sad, and I think they lost most of them. 200 washed up in Cape Cod. I mean, all of these things that had to do with the ocean all at once. And of course, now we're getting all of the stuff from Japan that was the tsunami washed, and it took that much time for it to drift over to our shores. So now people are actually getting things from Japan, from the ocean. Somebody found a soccer ball and returned it to them because it was signed and everything. So it's a message. So not everything is about physical events. And this is our time to pay attention to those messages. What are they saying to us? What do our oceans do for us? What is this about? And internally, again, the oceans remind us that we have this feeling of oneness, because that's what Neptune does. And all of the psychics have big Neptune in their charts.
Well, that's, I was just in Maui, and I'll tell you, that was a very enlightening experience for me with the ocean and the water and how it reacts and what it does. And
you feel different when you're around it.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Incredible. Incredible. Well, it's time for us to give out our information.
Oh,
so if you want to tell everybody about yourself so they can contact you if they'd like to have a reading.
Okay. Well, anyone can phone me, and my phone number is 530-210-6292. You can email me, and it is at earthsigns, EARTHSIGNS, at rocketmail.com. I am also on Facebook. You can find my name and ask me to be a friend, and I will be a friend.
Cool.
So
and why don't you spell your last name?
Ybarra. It's Ybarra.
Okay. And we're friends on Facebook. That's a great way to communicate with people. I love it.
Yeah, me too.
All right, let's give some information on the Paranormal Connection. We air the first and third Thursday of the month, alternating with our companion show, The Paranormal Insights. They air the second and fourth Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, following Ancient Wisdom. You can also watch us online go to accesssacramento.org, click on Watch 17. You can contact me at paranormalconnectiontv@gmail.com and catch information about all of our guests on paranormalconnectiontv.blogspot.com. I post all the new information about the shows, who's coming up, so you can go there and look and see who's coming up and put it in your DVR or whatever you have to do to watch the show. And also, we're on Facebook, Paranormal Connection TV. We have a page, so come and visit us on Facebook.
I will.
Good. Good. I also post everything on Facebook as well. And I'll be your friend too if you want to contact me, Danna Dennis Wilberg. So, well, in the time we have left, what else would you like to share with us? You were talking about some important people that about their planets. There was Dean Koontz and the psychic, the psychic planet.
Right. Dean Koontz and H.G. Wells. I wanted to compare the two of them because they are two that both have Uranus very connected to them in their lives. Also very occult things, the two of them. I don't know if you're familiar with Dean Koontz's writing, but in fact, he may have been reincarnated from H.G. Wells if you look at the charts, and that's really very fascinating. Also, let's see, Alison Dubois has a very strong Neptune-Pluto connection, and that's very big for psychics. And I was going to pair her up with Padre Pio in Italy. I don't know if we have time to talk about him. But both of them resonate with very deep love for people, and that can connect you to people right away. If there's enough empathy there, you get all kinds of information.
Wow. I certainly want to know more. We're going to have you back on the show. We'll talk about all kinds of different things because, we talk in between, and we could have done 3 more shows on all the information this woman has. So thank you again for coming on.
Thank you.
I certainly do appreciate your expertise, and I hope everybody enjoyed that. I'm sure they did. Yeah, it's great. So Barbara's information will be up at the end of the show here. You can copy it down and give her a call, get a reading. Be interesting. Yeah. Okay, and pay attention to the planets and the Earth because they're talking to you, right?
Go to the eclipse.
Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you to my wonderful crew that came out to volunteer tonight. I love you guys. You're the best. And with that, we're going to say goodnight.